Let me tell you about how my peachy-colored house drove my neighbor to lose his mind. It's a tale of colors, control, and one man's complete meltdown over paint. When I was house hunting, I had two non-negotiables: no HOA and a neighborhood that already embraced some personality. You know those streets where every house looks different and it just makes you smile? That's what I wanted. And I found it, or so I thought. After saving up, I finally had enough to give my house the makeover it desperately needed. My vision? A soft, peachy color as the main attraction, with sage, blue, and pink accents. Picture a sunset meeting a garden, that kind of vibe. Nothing crazy, just cheerful and welcoming. Enter Paul, my neighbor, and apparently the self-appointed color police of our street. From the moment the first brush of paint touched my house, Paul made it his personal mission to voice his disapproval. But that wasn't enough. Oh no. He also had opinions about my front yard, which I've turned into this whimsical space with wildflowers everywhere, sunflowers reaching for the sky, fun garden flags dancing in the breeze, and my pride and joy, a little free library that brings the neighborhood kids so much joy. Well, except for Paul's joy. Paul has no joy. Every single time he complained, I gave him the same response. I don't care. And I meant it. I even helpfully suggested that maybe he'd be happier in one of those HOA communities where they measure your grass with a ruler and fine you if your house isn't the right shade of beige. You know what he said? That he shouldn't have to move because he's lived here for 15 years. The irony was completely lost on him. The final straw came last weekend. I was installing these absolutely adorable pavers that my niece and I had painted together. We're talking cute little ladybugs, turtles, birds, just pure happiness in concrete form. My 15-year-old niece was so proud to have her art be a permanent part of my home. Of course, Paul couldn't resist making an appearance. He came over, calling everything an eyesore, right in front of my niece. That's when I'd had enough. Looking him straight in the eye, I said, "It's time for you to grow up and get over the fact that I'm doing what I want with my house." Oh, you should have seen his face. He puffed up like an angry peacock, started with the whole, "Do you know who I am?" routine. You know, that thing people say when they're not actually anyone important? I just told him to go away and get a life. I mean, seriously, if you have enough free time to obsess over your neighbor's paint choices, maybe it's time to pick up knitting or something. He stormed off, calling me a nasty piece of work, while my niece was practically crying with laughter. The neighborhood grapevine started buzzing, of course. Another neighbor came by to tell me that Paul's been complaining about how disrespectful I was. She gave me the whole, "He's been here forever, maybe be nice to him" speech. But here's my thing. Why should his 15 years in the neighborhood give him the right to dictate what others do with their property? My house brings me joy. The colors make me happy, the garden makes the bees happy, and the little free library makes the neighborhood kids happy. The only person who's unhappy is Paul, and that's not my problem to fix. Sometimes being nice isn't about letting people walk all over you. It's about setting clear boundaries and standing up for your right to live in a peachy-colored house with painted pavers, if that's what makes you happy. So no, I don't think telling him to get a life was too harsh. Sometimes people need to hear the truth, even if they're not ready for it. And my colorful house? It's staying exactly as it is, whether Paul likes it or not.